As Liberia's President George Weah marks 1 year in office, Liberians are taking stock of his progress so far. The former international football star has promised to crack down on corruption and end economic misery for millions of Liberians living in a country that is recovering from years of war and an Ebola outbreak from 2014 to 2016.
Liberia's President George Weah gave his second annual address on Monday, January 28th, in which he highlighted his government's achievements and challenges faced since taking office in January 2018. 1 year into his tenure, Weah still faces hurdles delivering tangible benefits to expectant supporters in the face of a gutted economy and waning donor support.
Liberia's trade deficit stood at $561.8 million United States dollars for the period of January to November 2018. By 2023, we expect the economy to grow by a further 4.7% on account of further expansion in commercial, gold production, growth in the agriculture and forestry sector, formation of special economic zones, and other economic reforms envisaged under the proposed agenda for prosperity and development.
Weah inherited an economy that has been hit hard by a 2014 to 2016 Ebola outbreak that killed thousands, as well as low prices for its chief exports, iron ore and rubber. In his State of the Nation address, Weah said there has been slight growth in rubber export and that agriculture was key to the country's growth plans.
To improve external sector of the economy, there is an urgent need to support domestic production, which require a major structural transformation of our economy. In this regard, on the proposed agenda, agriculture has been considered a matter of priority to achieve this structural reform.
Many young people and the poor who supported Weah had high expectations.
When it comes to the rules and all the things they say you have been doing, all that project was but an edit project that he completed. Okay? And some of the things that he promised to do, they have not been done. And he said some things, and that thing have brought problems, especially when it comes to the free education at the university level. He said there should be free education for all government colleges. And then since he made that statement, there have been a crisis in all the various universities around this nation.
Founded by free American slaves, Liberia is Africa's oldest modern republic, but it has been plagued by years of unrest and bloodshed, including 2 civil wars that were notorious for their brutality and use of child soldiers.
To discuss more on President Weah's first year in office, Alistair Wilcox, an African Affairs analyst, joins us on the program. Good to have you.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Great. Alistair, 1 year on. In your opinion, how has the president fared?
The president's work is a mixed bag, as a matter of fact. Expectations and realization. Now, I will first of all ask, what are the expectations and how realistic is the expectations of Liberia towards the new president? I think the president of having Weah as the president was very, very high. And so that must have put a lot of higher expectations far beyond the capacity of the country. And he started very well because one thing that he wanted to tackle was wastage in government. And so he sliced down salaries of top government officials and political holders and channeled those money for social welfare programs. For instance, paying of the school fees, the higher fees of the students that are writing the right exam, and building of hospitals for the military, and taking of growth, investing in infrastructure. Having been able to save money from wastages that came out from multiple patronages, so he was able to channel those things to the poor of the poor in the society. Like I said, paying of school fees for, fulfilling his education program by paying a WAEC fee for those who are writing their WAEC examination. So Those are some of the things he has done. And then again, there are some direct intervention in getting the standard of living reduced. For instance, he reduced tariff on certain products, and he engaged directly through his minister for Trade and Commerce, directly with rice importers, and to be able to bring down the price of rice. And so, such direct interventions were the things that are key to some of his programs. It was not doing academic. Yes, he must have learned from the ropes. He was not doing the World Bank type, the academic type of governance that Ellen Selig Johnson was doing. He was doing a direct one-on-one, touching the people as much as he can. That's why he has embarked on negotiations, embarked on things that will directly impact on the people. Yeah, so what extent that I considered is it, because 1 year for me is really too small to judge the president in that respect.
Yeah, Alistair, you mentioned some of his achievements there, but if you do remember, one of his pre-election promises was to crack down on corruption. Well, do you think he's done that, especially in light of the reported disappearance of the 16 billion Liberian dollars from the central bank?
Well, cracking down corruption is in different forms at present time. And as I say again, the timeline we are looking at may be, because corruption is endemic in Africa. Well, if you have started by curtailing the salaries and emoluments of police officers, that is a step in that direction. Now, the issue of the 16 billion Liberian dollars million. Well, I don't know the exact, but I know that there is the government invited the American government to look into that program, and the report is yet to be released. The one thing that George Weah is enjoying now is investment from international organizations. They still have confidence in the economy of Liberia, and they are bringing in investment. For instance, there was an aid package of about 112 million US dollars that is coming to Liberia for investment purposes. The World Bank and other agencies, they are trying to support Liberia very much more. So I'm sure they must have seen something good in that direction. There must have been some light in the end of time, in terms of streamlining public finance and public expenditure. So that's part of fighting corruption. But there will always be deviation in the system. There will be fraud, there will also be criminality. And when the report is out, I think we can take it from there.
African Affairs Analyst Alistair Wilcox, thank you for your analysis.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.